I'm talking with my friend Greg O'Brien, who is an activist and an author of On Pluto Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's, which is an award winning first person account of life with Alzheimer's and what it's like to be alive in this moment with Alzheimer's. It's been translated into scores of languages around the world. And Greg is also a good friend and a good friend to the Alzheimer's Family Support Center. So thank you for that, Greg.
You're welcome.
So tell me, what drew you to the Alzheimer's Family Support Center way back when? What is it that we're doing that you think is important or compelling?
Well, I think the most important word in the name of your title is support. And that's what people and families and those on this Alzheimer dementia journey need, is support, because it's one of the most lonely diseases in the world. It's lonely for someone walking through that, and I've had a history with my family, as you know. My paternal grandfather, my mother, my paternal uncle all died of Alzheimer's, and my father, before he died, had dementia. And it's devastating for the family, and it's a lonely disease for the family, and because no one fully understands it unless you're walking through it. Everyone wants to do the drive-by. Oh, you look so good, or oh, you seem good in 5 minutes, and they don't see what happens in the backstory. And I think a lot of caregivers always try to put the best face on it. I think people like me in this journey, in the early to mid stages, try to put the best face on it, but when the camera lights go off, it becomes a nightmare, and other people don't see it. And what your organization does is to looking for the word here, to provide that support, which is so essential. And you have a national model, and it's a model that should be followed around the country. That's support and love. There's no cure now, and I think the antidotes are support and love, getting those on this journey and their caregivers and family members through. And that not only includes caregivers, it includes our first responders, which is so important, the nurses and the doctors.
And we're also neighbors.
Right.
Our office is located here in Brewster. And what's it like for you to know that there is a neighborhood center?
Well, as you know, doctors understandably don't let me drive, but I ride my bike, and I feel very comfortable riding my bike over unannounced until I walk in and realize that I should have called. But you guys are always so good, and it in the moment when I'm riding my bike, sometimes I just want to come over to say hi. And I think love and support is that simple. It's not a Rubik's Cube. It's not algebra, geometry. It's how you doing. We care. And that cuts deep. Cuts deeper than medication. Cuts deeper than an operation. It cuts into the soul and the heart. And that's what you guys do.
You've been on every side of the Alzheimer's equation. You've been a caregiver, you've been an advocate, you're an author, you write extensively about the phenomena of Alzheimer's, and now you're a person also living with this disease. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship to Alzheimer's and how your perspective around it has changed over time?
My perspective changes as the journey wears on, and I try to get up. Of course, this is a New England Patriot shirt, and I know there are a lot of Patriot haters out there, but Bill Belichick is a role model for me, and get up and do my job when I feel like not doing it, and I feel like self is, and other forms of dementia. I think that's important to say. It's like having a sliver of your brain shaved every day. And there are times when I get up and I don't know who's going to show up, meaning what Greg is going to show up. And I can have this interview with you right now because I'm prepped to have it. And as a jock in high school and college, you get up for a game, you get up for an event. But 60% now of my short-term memory can be gone in 30 seconds. I deal with tremendous rage and anxiety I don't recognize people I've known all my life. I deal with deep depression. There's no feeling now in both legs for the most part, from my knees to my feet. It's neuropathy, but it's brain signals shutting down. And Alzheimer's, there's a stereotype, and this is important to say. It gets back to the drive-by. Alzheimer's is not just about memory loss. And my short-term memory is in the toilet. My long-term memory, a little better. But it's about the entire, and I saw it with my family members, breakdown of the body. And a lot of people don't understand that. And they don't really understand what Alzheimer's is all about. And I've always said that those on this journey who are able to articulate might know, not with respect to the cure, but might know more about this disease than the experts, because they're dealing with it day to day, and they know in the first person how it kicks the crap out of you.
One of the, I know your family, and I know you have an enormously supportive family. You mentioned anxiety and rage.
They're just fading you for headphones. That's a lady.
You could have gotten them in there and nobody would have heard them.
What she's saying, can I?
The bubble above your head.
Yeah, right,
Look, just one more second. A few more seconds. Good. Okay.
All right. I know your family. You have a lovely and supportive family. You touched on just a second ago the issues of rage and depression and anxiety. One of the things that marks these diseases is that so many of the symptoms have to do with emotions, behaviors, etc. How would you say that your family is learning to help you and also for themselves manage the emotional manifestations of the disease as you live it?
That's a hard thing, and it's day to day, and you could ask any caregiver who's been through it, because they don't know when the curveball is coming, when the screwball is coming, when the forkball is coming. And when I have complete, at times, loss of continence at both ends, and when that thing is going to happen. And so they're on guard, and their anxiety is high. And if I could just speak to the role of the caregiver, having been one for my mother and my father, but also looking at my wife and children and close friends like your organization, I have tremendous empathy, and I get so upset at myself when I have an explosion of rage or hallucinations, and I strike out and I say bad words, and then I feel so badly about it. And it's not like people in this disease are trying to be jerks, or trying to be angry, or trying to hurt people. There are times when the synapse just doesn't happen. It's like being in a room at night and someone pulls the plug out on the light and you scream, or you say something worse. And those around have to deal with that. And they talk about the impact on caregiving, the anxiety caregivers have, the depression care, how they get sick easily. And hey folks, this is a family disease. I don't want your pity. I don't want that. I want you to listen. This is a family disease, and it's coming to a theater near you someday, because this is going to affect millions and millions more.
So today you have an audience of hundreds of caregivers from around the country. Some of them are professionals, some of them are family caregivers, some of them are both. A lot of people wear more than one hat. What do you feel is the most important message for family caregivers as a person living with the disease and as a former caregiver yourself? What do you think are the most important things that people need to remember in this process?
Well, first of all, having seen both sides, I want to say urge the caregivers to take care of themselves, to understand what they're dealing with, to realize it's not just the stress of someone like me or others going through it, because I've seen both sides, understand the impact that it's having on you, and take care of yourself. Get rest, get a break, get good sleep when you can, laugh. I couldn't get through this journey without faith, hope, and humor. And so I would urge caregivers to find that quiet time if they can, or others around them to give them that quiet time. The other thing, I've had a lot of people ask me, well, what do we do? You know, almost like they feel that they need to take a PhD course in caregiving, and you don't. It's support, which is at the name of your organization, and it's love. And if I would add one other thing, it's touch. And touch is so important because it translates into someone cares, and you feel that. And it takes away that feeling of being alone when someone puts a hand on your shoulder and says, I love you. You don't have to explain how you're feeling. You don't have to tell me that you know what's going on. You just tell me that you love me or someone else. And that translates into love back to the caregiver. And that, I think, can lower the temperature.
That's great. Thank you.